Morning, guys! So, in the last video, I casually mentioned that I wanted to do a Q&A video, and that'd be really nice if I got, like, maybe more than 5 questions, and I got 57. Y'all are so overachievers. I'm just like, why? So, I am going to just get through them as quickly as I fucking can. It's probably gonna be 2 or 3 videos fucking long because it's just so fucking many, and I talk too much, like, right now. So let's get into it. Leslie Cat asked, how many sketchbooks have you filled up? Girl, if I could have an insert right now of like the volumes of sketchbooks that are underneath my bed, you would laugh. It's insane, the amount of kindling. Malene asked on Snapchat, what do you think are the most important things to learn at art? I would say perspective, because everything is grounded in a 3D reality. It's a very deep sentence. So you need to know that, and honestly, you also need to know the human body. Perspective helps with learning the human body, but there's so many fucking muscles and like fleshy bits. That's marker, by the way, that you need to know. Tom Riddle asked, how do you even perspective? That's a great question, Tom Riddle. I have a whole video on how to do perspective. It is the 2nd video in my Why You Should Love Backgrounds series, and I'll probably be doing more videos in the future about it. Jessie Shirley asked, how did you start getting into drawing backgrounds and settings? When I was in high school, we had these assignments where like you only had like 1 illustration that you could do per every 2 weeks, and I was an artist that created a shit ton of backstory for every single illustration I did. And because I could only do 1 piece, I had to cram as much information into the picture as possible, and you can't really do that in characters, so I ended up spending a lot of time on the backgrounds, and I think ever since then I've just kind of like focused more and more on that. I got a couple questions asking, what is your favorite art medium? It depends. If it is like a casual piece, like for funsies, I like markers. If it's a serious piece, it's watercolor. Lolliet L takes me back, asked a couple questions. What made you want a career in art? This is what I'm best at. This is what makes me happiest. I want to spend the rest of my life doing this and make money from it. That'd be pretty fucking great. And they also asked, how did you get interested in drawing? Honestly, like, I think I just loved it ever since I was a little kid. I just liked making things, and I liked how happy it made other people, or like how impressed they'd be or whatever. So like, I don't know, it's just always been fun for me, so that's kind of my thing. Sarah Morgan asked, do you have any pets, and if you don't, what would you want? I do have a few pets. I love this question. I have my kitty Xena. She has made a few cameo appearances in this video, in my previous videos, and I have 2 rescue greyhounds, Celine and Sasha. If I could have more pets, there'd be more cats. Maybe a chinchilla, maybe a bunny. I like fuzzy things. On My Tire Swing asked, how do you finalize a piece, as in what finishing touches do you like to add to take it to the next level? Usually it's little tiny touches at the end, like a little bit of colored pencil work to help with like a little added visual interest, a little bit more color harmony, sometimes pops of highlights, but I'm not one of those people that's super into like adding a lot of like white gel pen or whatever. It's not usually my thing. Kind of depends on the piece, and usually a little bit of soft pastel to help with the glow. I know when a piece is finished when I'm starting to add a lot of nitpicky detail that isn't really doing anything. If anything, it's harming, and then I know, okay, I gotta stop. Emily Foster asked, what is your favorite thing to draw? Probably backgrounds. Probably. Also really fluffy cats. That's another fave. Ooh, and girls with curly hair, like giant afros or like beautiful mirrored spirals. I really do enjoy drawing those. Molly Anderson asked, recently I've needed to get started on my portfolio, but I don't know where to start. Do you have any tips? I do have tips. It is a video called, I think, Portfolio Review Day, something like that. I'll link it. So that goes over a lot of stuff. But you want to have pieces that show your technical ability and show you as an artist. So like fun things that you like to do. Medeo Nasser asked, does your academic knowledge about art affect your style in doing art? Yes. Yes, all the yes. I would not be making the backgrounds that this note on my hand is for me to pick up a painting, so don't worry. The perspective drawings definitely help me a lot with just, you know, knowing how to do backgrounds. The fact that I have studied anatomy so much is the reason why my bodies tend to look a lot more realistic, and I tend to draw a lot more muscles than I think other people do. I don't tend to go into the cartoonish style. So yeah, for sure, academic stuff, it is important. Ella Van Kuren asked, how do you like your art and do you feel confident about your art? Yes, I do feel confident. I do like my art because everything I make is something that like I personally like. Even if it's a stupid school assignment that I don't like, I always twist it to be something that I genuinely enjoy. If I don't like what I'm making, I stop and I start over. Like I have zero tolerance. And I am confident because I've been studying so fucking much that I feel like I'm finally at a technical level that I can say is decent. Not great, but decent. Not cringeworthy. I'm going so slow. How do you find the time to do art responsibilities? This is by Victoria. I have a video on finding time for art, but if you want my specific crazy answer, I wake up at 5:15 every morning and I schedule my day down to the half hour. Oh yes, I am that kind of crazy. Kira A.S. Bouts asked, what would you call your art style? Colorful, grounded in reality, but still kind of like childish. I think that's about right. A lot of people ask me, when did you start drawing or when did you get serious? I started physically drawing like when I was 5. I loved drawing even back then. And I got serious when I was 13. Carpathon asked, how long do you practice an art concept before you feel comfortable talking about it? What I kind of gauge is if I have been studying this and practicing this technique or whatever it is for years, and or I have taken a class at a university, so I know, like, I have been taught it physically, that's usually an indication that means I can teach it. It also has to be something that I personally feel like I can talk about very easily and off the top of my head, no script or anything. So for example, I'm not gonna be able to make a human anatomy video at any point in the near future because I don't feel like I can teach it, even though I have learned it for a long time. A lot of people ask me, would you recommend going to an art school or majoring in art? Questions like that, art school questions. I'm gonna make a whole separate video. Short answer is no, you don't have to go to art school. Long answer is there's so many variables, and that's why I have to kind of talk about it in another video. Disc Breaker asked, how did you start learning to draw? Honestly, a lot of tutorials. I spent a shit ton of time reading tutorials on DeviantArt, which is a dated sentence at this point. I watched YouTube videos like crazy, and I just studied what I saw in other artists, including my peers at school, and then obviously lots of practice. Apocalyptic asked, what do you look for in a sketchbook? It needs to have paper that isn't like super flimsy. I don't look for like great paper. I just look for average. Okay paper, is it travel size, and is it cute? If it's not cute, I have a really hard time starting it. I don't know why, but it's a thing. I can't do like the basic black bound hardcover sketchbooks. They make me sad. Apocalyptic also asked, what's your favorite part of drawing? Definitely the coloring. It's like the most stressful, but it's the most satisfying. Alice Nugent asked, how did you develop your style? I honestly fucking don't know. I've just been like working on it. I had, like, when I was in high school, 3 main artists that I really like looked up to and kind of copied ish. Jaw Cooper, Abigail Larson, and Camila Rose Garcia. I just kind of like took aspects that I really, really liked and just incorporated them. And then as I got older, I kept on adding more and more influences to the point where I have this very like weird hybrid of a shit ton of people, and that is my style, I guess. Isabel Fake 10 asked, what do you know about other majors at Mass Art, like photography? I don't know too much, but you know who does? At the admissions office. I bet you if you called them, actually I know, if you called them and you were like, hey, can you give me some statistics? I've got some questions about the photography department. Or if you asked them, hey, could I have the contact information for the head of photography? I have a lot of questions. I'm an upcoming and maybe potential student. They'll give you a lot more facts than I, an illustration major who's only spent 1 semester fully at Mass Art, can give you. Claudia Draws asked, could you do a video about how to incorporate a background with a foreground? I could. I should do a lot more perspective videos. Dalix167 asked, what's the worst art supply I've ever bought? Oh my god, I could do a whole fucking video. One of my biggest regrets though is I bought, when I was like, 10 years old? No, not 10. Like 14, 13, 15. I was like, I want to get into markers. I want to do marker drawings. So I bought with my own money this pack of like 35 Prismacolor markers, and I have only used them like within this past year. Why? Because they're all chisel tip, and I don't like chisel tip, I like brush tip. And also the colors are so fucking random in that pack. There's like all these really intense bright, vibrant colors that are all like super saturated and also really dark, like nothing but midtones and shadows. And I just, you have to have some pales and some muted tones if you're gonna do like any kind of marker work. So I just never use them. That was one of the stupidest things. Emu Fear asked, what star sign are you? I am a Leo, if that wasn't completely obvious enough. Die Dino asked, what influences your art the most? Objects that I like. I say objects because there's a lot of things. Other artists that are way, way better than me. And I guess like things that I find in real life. Things that interested me, like that I see in the day-to-day. Sammy Sparkle asks, apart from art, what are your other passions and hobbies? I do like hiking. I like hiking. I like talking to friends on the phone. I know that's kind of silly, but that is a hobby of mine, is catching up with people. I had a whole like answer to this, and now I have completely forgotten all my interests and hobbies. I like researching interior design a lot. And why can't I remember anything? Everything is usually involved with art in some way or some form. So, oh yeah, and exercising. I do like to exercise. Khalil Dorgain asks, what is your advice for people who only have the talent and never studied art school at university and want a full-time job? Keep working at what you're doing and apply for jobs. That's it. Yeah, your competition are people that have gone out of school, but like, if your portfolio is as good as theirs, you've got an even playing field. Just go for it. Penguin Wear Top Hats asked, which piece of artwork are you the most proud of? Whatever's my most recent piece. I don't like my work. No, that's not true. It's just that my favorite piece is always the most recent thing. And then I give it a couple weeks and I'm like, nah, I don't like it. I need to make a new one. Ooh, they also asked, if you could select 3 things to make up your aesthetic, what would they be? Oh, best and worst question, because I never know. Saltwater Taffy, any Wes Anderson movie ever made, and I don't know, the color pink. Tana V. Kumar asked, where do you get your inspiration? Honestly, I get a lot of inspiration from things that I find online, Instagram, Tumblr, whatever. I get inspiration from fashion, from interior designs, from plants, from things that I randomly see in my real life. Like, for example, the storefront project was, I think inspired because I did a road trip to Vermont with my boyfriend, and we passed by the craziest road signs and the weirdest stores, like the Angry Chair. That's a hair salon. And I was like, these are great. I should do 100 of them. A lot of people ask me about art blocks, how long they take me, do I ever feel stuck, etc. Yes, I do have art blocks, especially if I finished a very big project. I have an art block because I'm like, well, what the fuck do I do? What do I do? Usually my art blocks don't last more than like a few months. And yes, I do feel burned out. I make myself very, very tired because I usually give myself way too much fucking things to do. So that's a thing. But honestly, the best way to get out of art block is to just keep making, like keep forcing it, and you'll get there. And honestly, at this point, I have given myself so many projects, so many deadlines, and so many things to do that I can't take any breaks, or like I can't stop, you know? Like there's too many things for me to do. I can't get bored. I can't get stuck. There are no ruts because I'm constantly going. So that's where I am. And I think I'm gonna stop it there because we are at the 15-minute mark. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye!